So welcome, everybody. I am Robin Schwartz. I am the Program and Grant Director of the Community Arts Partnership in Tompkins County. And we are in Ithaca, New York, and we serve Tompkins County artists and organizations. The Spring Rights Literary Festival is one of our annual events, which include the Greater Ithaca Art Trail. The artist market, I want to just mention to you guys that the Ithaca Artist Market is on August 9th. It is open to any artist, writers, performers, visual artists who have something to sell. So if you guys are interested in being in the Ithaca Artist Market, I think you're on my email list. You may have gotten something about it, or let me know. It's on August 9th. And we also have a gallery, and we have a vintage art sale every year. We have professional work development workshops coming up. And we have networking events that are happening at the Greater Ithaca Activity Center. And most impressively, this year alone, we've distributed $575,000 of state, county, and foundation money for hundreds of local events. And since 1993, which surprisingly was the year I started, that number has been 6.5 million. So that's how awesome we are. There are a few additional Zoom events. Tomorrow, there's a group reading at 6:30, and on Saturday, there's two programs. One is a storytelling from students at Cornell, and the other is a bilingual reading at 6 p.m. That's all on springrights.org, and I'll put the website in the chat. And then there are 9 additional writing workshops happening through August, all free. Let's stay on mute throughout the event. Your bathrooms are down the hall. Go anytime. Please use the chat heavily. I will monitor the chat in case anyone has any issues or questions. And we are recording this session. And lastly, I'm going to thank our wonderful Spring Rights sponsors. Because of our sponsors and funders, we're able to have 40 free events and pay the artists. So they're amazing. And they are Ithaca College, Wegmans, M&T Bank, CFCU Community Credit Union, the Odyssey Bookstore, and the Ithaca Marriott. We receive grant support from Poets and Writers and the Tompkins County Tourism Program. And our media sponsors are the Root WITH Radio and WSK Radio and Cinemapolis. And I am now going to turn the mic over to Kiara Perkins. And thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. As Robin has let us know, I want to also give a great thanks to our sponsors. This is actually my 3rd year attending the Spring Rights Literary Festival. Pardon me, it's been a long day. And I'm really excited to be here today because one of the many passions that I do have, and I'm very grateful for Spring Rights to be able to give me this platform to share it, but I have found a fond passion in supporting local creatives and trying to bridge the communities within downstate and upstate. So we have joined today myself as well as 2 other great authors as well as creatives who will then introduce themselves. However, I just want to say we do have one that is actually a native from Ithaca. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that she is based in the Ithaca area, and myself as well as the other artist is based in the downstate area. So these are just the 2 communities that we are bridging for this event particularly. And I will give just a brief introduction of myself. My name is Kiara Perkins. A lot of people know me as KP. I do a lot of community organizing in the Bronx, particularly. And I have a lot of connections in the greater Binghamton area as being a student of Binghamton University, and just continuing to grow my connections with other community organizers in both the greater New York area as well as New York City. I have a lot of many hats that I wear. But recently I did release my first poetry collection, which is what I have in the back as my back screen, but it is Feeling Feelings, Writing Words, and it is a care package. And myself, I will be sharing a couple excerpts from my book. And I'm going to just share over a spotlight to my next author, which goes by the name of Bubblesz. Bubblesz, if you would like, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So my name is Bubblesz. That's my artist name, and I am a multidisciplinary artist. I also work in community organizing, and I am a art therapist practitioner. So I teach children, adults, and seniors how to deal with their emotions and emotional regulation through the arts, as art has been very therapeutic for myself. So I'm really happy to be here today and share some exercises from my book called The Bubbly Love Course, which is a book that incorporates some of these art therapies, and also sharing two poems that is in alignment with the topics that we'll be discussing today. So thanks for having me.
And Candy, you can introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Candy, aka Kitora Moore. I feel bad I don't have my chat book. Happily I sold them all. So I gotta print some more. um, but I created a chat book called Broken Words. It was dealing with the matters of feeling broken and finding ways to heal. So I'm going to be reading from that, but I'm also creating, I consider it a clap back to a lot of the brokenness that I was feeling when those things turn back up, how I handle them differently or look at them differently. So that's what I will be sharing today. I am a Ithacan. I grew up in Ithaca. I'm a GIAC kid. I also have been working on doing a lot of events and things with Spring Rights, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for those wonderful introductions. So I want to start off with just reminding you all that it takes folks a lot of patience with themselves, as well as resilience, to be able to take their writings and be able to create something larger than it just being a journal entry. And that was the very thing that I wanted to highlight today in today's thematic reading. Particularly, our themes are going to be focused on hope, resilience, and empowerment, right? So I will begin, I will begin by just giving a breakdown of what we all can expect throughout today's virtual event. And I want to encourage you all that if you do have any questions as they might arise, I encourage you to definitely type it into the chat box, and we will be reserving a portion at the end of the event as a Q&A forum. So I just want you to feel encouraged to still speak. Although we might be monitoring the chat, we will have a moment to actually speak on what's going on in the chat. So let's make sure that we're going in the chat. So to begin, okay, so I said what the themes are, and everyone gave their introductions. We will start with our first presenter, which will be Candy. She will give us her excerpts and her readings. Then we will have then we will transition over to Bubblesz. She will give us her excerpt and a couple of her poems, as she said. And then I will be presenting as well towards the end of our conversation. We have a bit of a discussion panel. Of course, based off of us as the presenters, but we'll just have like a debriefing moment, and then we'll go into the Q&A. So, and then I believe at the end, I think Bubblesz has something for us. She might or may not, I'm hoping. And if she does, let's get ready for that, because
Yes,
that
I do.
should be a very Yay. Okay, great. So that should be a very, very, very exciting and interactive moment for us. So like I said, grab your journals and feel free to write things that come to you. I would love for this to be somewhat of like a workshop where we're kind of just at home, also getting the nitty-gritty of this thematic reading. All right, so I'm gonna just mute myself and let it begin. Thank
Hi, I'm back. Candy, am I on here? Okay. So again, I'm going to read some new things and some older things from Broken Words. I'll go ahead and get started. The first poem is called Stumbles. It seems everything I try to do to feel established gets blocked. Is this my reality? Because it seems to take my sanity. I should try harder, right? Keep fighting the good fight, work hard. Where to start with my hardships? So much to deal with. Do I get help or do it all by myself? Everyone screams independent, but at the end of the day, we need and have someone to depend on. No one can or wants to do this on their own. There is not much good in being all alone. What can I give others but my heart and the ability to know life is hard? They never seem to stick around or I flee. How can I continue when if I fall, no one is there to catch me? That was Stumbles. The clap back to that is called Standards. Standards. Stumbles don't happen as often when standards are set. Standards help avoid shit no one wants to deal with. Setting standards sets the mind to say what it means and mean what it says. Standards aren't to be played with. Gotta stand on it. I mean, I can only speak on mine. Keep standards to have stability, to help avoid unnecessary stumbles. Decide, what is it you truly want? What do you expect? What do you anticipate? These are the questions to ask when standards are made. We were given a choice when we were given a voice. At some point, the noise can get loud from the crowd. We must not allow it to tear our standards down. Standards give structure. Build up to belong. Be strong. Set them. Stand on them. Having standards makes it harder to fall. The next one is called Worry. Worry. Why worry me? Leaving me with all these insecurities, not allowing my mind to be at ease, waiting for the moment for destruction to come in, when there's a possibility for me to win. Worry wants me to waste my time, concerning myself in lack and fear. Why? Why? Why worry? I need to know. When can my seed grow? My time spent on worrying is holding me back from my greatness. I can't take this. I gotta release this demon in me, trying to lead my destiny to destruction with distractions. Where is my confidence and strength to succeed, not to just survive? When is my time? When will worry be out of my way? I ask myself this every day. My heart can't seem to let it flow, even though I say, yeah, I know, I gotta let it go. Everything is always easier said than done. At least I know I'm not the only one. Worry will have to be put away. I have other things I should do today. Worry, worry, worry. Won't you leave me alone? I have way too much already going on. The next one is called Won't Worry. Worry won't worry me. Worry won't worry me. I choose not to be weary. Why worry? What's the hurry? What's the harm? It may have rang an alarm. Worry is waiting for the worst. I choose to remove this curse. Worry won't worry me, leaving me in misery. See, my mind is at ease. I choose peace. I choose to release anything that breaks from my better self. I choose my health. I choose not to stress. It causes a mess. Worry is a waste of time. Instead, I choose to strategize on an outcome that will satisfy success. Be concerned, but not worried. Concern means change is needed. Change means a chance to grow. I choose to look at worry as a concern that means change is needed. I choose to proceed into positive change. I plan to be calm, patient, and positive in my concerns. Learn and let the negativity burn. I understand that I can learn from my concern. I choose not to worry and be in a bad mood. I choose to decide that my concern will align in due time. I choose peace. I choose growth. I choose gratitude. I choose a good attitude. And I have mindful. Mindful of what you do, mindful of what's hurting you, mindful of what you want, what brings, no, I'm sorry. Mindful of what you do, mindful of what's hurting you, mindful of what you want to do, mindful of what brings you joy, mindful of what gives you peace, mindful of your energy, mindful of what you say, mindful of your truth. Being mindful of these things will help you when you're lost. In doing so, you find the root of the issue. Be mindful, be kind, and gentle to your truth. Denial is a disease that I won't get into. The truth is a hard pill to swallow, but it's necessary to heal. Take care and don't forget, be mindful. Now I have one last one. It's called More Mindful. I am more mindful of what matters for my foundation. I am more mindful of what brings I am more mindful of what brings me these things I need to succeed, and it brings ease to my body. I am more mindful of doing things that bother me and bring me disease, and I decide to release what my body does not need. I am more mindful of what I need to proceed. I am more mindful of my abundance and purpose, and I decide to serve it. I am more mindful of what brings me peace, joy, health, wealth, and wisdom, and I decide to lean on them. More mindful of my emotions and actions, and I can decide to be more mindful of what makes me receive these energies of peace and gratitude. I am more mindful of my attitude. Being more mindful taps into a better point of view. Thank you.
Beautifully said. Candy, would you mind just letting us know, paint us a picture somewhat of where you were, what you were going through. What is it that initially inspired you to write these particular words?
It's funny because, as you said, it's kind of like a setup of um, writing a journal. Like being a writer, you just kind of write, and you express things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it's just a journal entry. At these particular ones, especially from Broken, was just again me like really going through some dark parts of my life and trying to figure out the feelings and making sense of it all and figuring out how to heal, and then actually going through the healing journey and finding those triggers pop up and having a different attitude about it. So that's kind of, I don't know. I've been wanting to write since since they told me to write a story when we were like kids, and that one book they made us take picture and write a story. I've had a creative mind, so I just kind of I write poems, I write songs, I write scripts. I just But this is more like on an emotional level. And it was just like, I have so many journal entries, poems, songs, and I was like, I need to turn it into something that I can give others to read. And I started doing open mics and just finally getting around other people who write. And someone expressed to me about spring rights, so I got into that. So it's like anything that I can get myself out there to express, because I consider my brand passion behind the pen. So when Kiara was like existing beyond the pen, I'm like, well, that, like, we have to do something together. Like, we have the same sort of like idea. And I love the idea of like expressing to people that you may not, because me, I don't have any writing background. Like, I didn't go to school for journalism or anything. I just love to write. And just like I could just say to anybody out there, just do it. Just find your people, because find an open mic, look it up on, thank goodness for the internet, look it up and just go. That's what I say, because it's very freeing, it's therapeutic, like not only when you write it, but when you're actually able to share it and someone enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Candy, for sharing that. I think one thing that really stuck with me to what you said was kind of, you allowed your writing to create somewhat of a roadmap for you. And you led with your creativity. And I think that's very inspiring for any of us writers, because we're all just, looking for that peak of confidence that will take us to that next level, right? Thank you again, Candy.
No problem. Thank you.
So, of course, thank you. And we will go on with our next writer, Bubblesz. Would you be willing to come to the front?
Yes, hello everyone. Okay. So something that I didn't say about this book is that the Bubbly Love course is actually a book that's written in the form of a lesson plan. So I'm actually going to start off by reading the preface so you can get a bit of what it's about, and then I'm going to do actual exercises from the book and then show you an example of those exercises with the poetry and song that I do. Okay? All right. So this is the preface. The goal of the Bubbly Love course is to inspire self-love, mindfulness, and free expression through the arts. The Bubbly Love course explores meditation, journaling, music, rap, songwriting, dance, theater, arts, fashion, and performance. This wide range of subjects provide the foundation to build a customized self-love course for your daily life or in the classroom. Bubbly can be defined as cheerful or happy. What makes you bubbly? Tapping into what makes you bubbly is the key to activating your superpowers. We are all different in so many beautiful ways. However, the thing that we all have in common is the ability to love. If you are alive, there is a reason for it. You have a special gift or superpower that only you can do. Doing what I love has brought me joy and purpose. I can now make the connections to why I had to learn certain lessons to place me where I am now, in the position to share my experiences and use them as seeds, planting these seeds of ideas into your mind, body, and soil so that you can create the garden that you desire. The Bubbly Love course is a self-paced lesson for all ages. Lessons can be done in chronological order, or you can mix them up. The world is yours. I challenge you to find what makes your mind, body, and soul smile and do it with all your heart. Be brave, acknowledge and forgive the things that have hurt you in the past so that nothing is holding you back. There are so many ways to transmute these emotions into a therapeutic form of expression. Let's do it together. Let's be free. Okay, cool. Okay, so So now I just explained what it is. I'm gonna actually go into some of the lessons, right? So this is my medicine drum. So for this one, I'm gonna use the medicine drum, and then the next one is not gonna have a medicine drum. So the exercise that I'm reading from is called Positive Affirmations, Exercise 1. And it says, students create a chant using positive words and phrases to inspire us if we ever feel down. And this chant is called, I love my body. Okay. I love my body. I love me for me. Everything about me, that's how it should be. I love me, 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 me. I love me, 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 me. I love me. My body is private property. My clothes do not define me. Don't touch unless I say, respect me in every way. No means no. Go, you can go. C is for consent. That's what I said. That's what I meant. It's my body. It's my choice. I'll speak up. I'll use my voice. I love my body. I love me for me. Everything about me. That's how it should be. I love me.
We
Thank
love
you.
that. That was awesome.
Yeah. So the thing is, when I teach these lessons, right, it's like it's all about empowering ourselves and speaking like power into ourselves, even if we're feeling down, if we're feeling sad, if we're feeling angry, to use the words of positive affirmation to speak life within you. So that goes on the topic of resilience, right? Being resilient through whatever it is that you're going through, and know that you have the power to uplift yourselves and make yourself feel better, and use a medicine drum, use an instrument, like use a rhythm, and get it into your mind so that we can again feel good about ourselves. So this next one is going to be, it's another exercise, and it's going to be a little slower this time, a different vibe. The exercise is in the rap and songwriting exercise 5. So it says, think of an emotion you are feeling or would like to release. Write a rap, poem, or short story expressing that emotion. And this poem is called Voices, and it's about resilience and hope. Okay. I will never give up, nah. Though it seems my trauma tries to tell me to stay in the same patterns that keep me in a loop. The voices say to let go. I respond by trying to hold on. Hold on to the comfort. I don't like to be cold. But how could I expect change when I'm still resisting? I thought that I grew. I thought that I was past this. But still, I am afraid. Yes, afraid to sit silent. In silence, the voices are louder. The voices expect a lot of me, and so I rebel, thinking maybe they'll pick someone else to carry this weight. The weight of responsibility, accountability, and leadership. I do not remember signing up for this. The voices say that I did. The voices are telling me truths I do not want to hear. I am ashamed of my mistakes and feel unworthy. The voices say not to be so critical of myself and that it is not about being perfect. Now I do admit that when I listen to the voices, joy follows. When I stop listening to the voices, everything comes crashing down. But still, the way they're always right just bothers me. I am angry that the voices are perfect and I am not. Get out of my head, I yell. The voices leave without a warning. Now I feel alone. The feeling of abandonment is so triggering and unbearable. I try once again to call upon the voices. Wait, you know I was joking, right? Can we please work this out? No response. Instead, I ran into people, places, and things who are opposite of the voices. Trying to fill this void, I distracted myself with these people, places, and things. One-sided relationships, underground nightclubs, and illegal substances. For just a moment, it felt like it worked, but it never lasted. I needed a hug. The voices always hugged me. The voices were never judgmental. The voices always loved me. Feeling so overwhelmed and insecure about the ideas the voices told me, I ran away, questioning myself. Am I capable? I think I know I am, but the voices say, do not doubt my power. Is that you? I asked, crying hysterically. I continued saying, sometimes it feels like my powers are limited, and now I look in the mirror and do not recognize myself. I'm absorbing toxins excessively, and I say I want to be a holistic healer. It felt so good, but upon reflection, it did so much bad. Trying to be accepted and understood by others led me to wasting my time. Seeking validation of my self-worth. Is what I'm doing good enough? Thank you for coming back to me. I'm sorry about what I said, but I need you. Scoop me again, scoop me up again, and show me the way. Be my shield from the external world. Protect me. I'll listen this time, I promise. I'd like to be the best version of me. I'd like to take you up upon the visions that you've shown me, the ones full of abundance, and I'm truly happy, free of worry and anxiety, sober. If I ever need the answer, please give me the courage to follow your guidance. And please, please, I beg you, do not leave me again. The voices tell me to have unconditional love, compassion, and grace for myself. The voices told me that this was all a part of the journey. The voices tell me that true wisdom comes from experience, and that if I want to help anyone heal, I must first be sick and heal myself. The voices tell me that even if I'm sad, I have the power to transmute the pain and turn it into medicine for myself and others, but myself first. I listen this time. Through my actions, I make small changes day by day. I fight the parasites with the herbs and healing practices the voices guide me to. And I am victorious. I am victorious. The voices tell me they have never left. They just had to materialize into people, places, and things so that I could receive the messages in a different way. The voices disguise themselves to make me stronger. The voices tell me that they will never leave me and will always be inside of me. All I must do is listen and be obedient. The voices tell me to use my voice to tell this story of transformation so that it can remind others of the voices inside of them.
That was so beautiful. I think that one of my favorite things, if I can add, one of my favorite things that I'm hearing in both of your writings, but I would like to speak to Candy's, Bubblesz in particular. I love a poetic rhythm where it seems like you're having a conversation with self. I think that those dispositions are so powerful, as it relates to resilience and finding one's own empowerment through one's own experience. I think I talked about this like in an earlier event. I think one of my first events was Spring Rights, when we were talking about community organizing. This is a great opportunity for intersectional, factors intersectional identities to be spoken about as it relates to our writing. And I think that what I heard in that was just such a deep resilience, where it's like, you're ping-ponging thoughts with yourself. I have a piece that's very similar to that as well. And it was just so refreshing to hear yet another writer kind of take that same disposition. I loved it.
Thank you so much. It's funny because when I wrote that piece, I actually found this like poetry contest that basically asks for a poem that doesn't rhyme. And I was like, like I rap. For those of you who don't know, I rap. I'm a performing artist, so I rhyme all day. So I was like, write a poem without like rhyming. And I was like, this is such a great challenge for myself. And this is actually the poem that I ended up coming up with. And like you said, it ended up being a conversation. And it's like a conversation with self, like your higher self, like your intuition. And it's like your intuition or like God, the Most High, is like talking to you, like, you're supposed to be doing this, right? But you like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I don't know if I want to take accountability right now. And it's like, but you better. And it's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be silent and I'm going to put myself into your experiences so that you can learn from your experiences. And yeah, so thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Spring Brights, for having me. Thank you, Community Arts Partnership. Thank you so much, Robin. And yes. Wait, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh,
So,
sorry. Oh.
so what do we do now? Do we do question and answers, or does anyone?
I will also be sharing an excerpt as well.
Great.
It's okay. And then after I share my excerpt, I will be naturally diving into the Q&A forum. Particularly, I am going to share just 3 aspects of my book. It's already here. I have it in the back, but I also have my version. It's my proof. I'd like to start with 3414, 3 a.m. at 3414. And particularly within my aspect, I wanted to bring forth the value of environment, having a very, a very deep factor in the way that we just show up in the world. And I'm from the Bronx in New York City, and it could be very different from a lot of different people backgrounds. And so I wanted to just bring my experience through that environment, bring that forth in my writing just a bit to challenge myself. In the beginning of my poetry collection, it was actually a creative workshop that I did. That was my creative writing course with my professor Maya at the time, which she's a great professor. She was over at BMC University. And so I'll just dive straight into it. I awake from a deep sleep. It's warm and stuffy, but the night is still. A long gusty wind blows from the curtain. I tap my phone. It's 3:33. Pow, pow, pow. The wind blows again. Car tires screech and speed off. There's a calm silence. I roll over and turn the television on. Citizens app notifies me. Someone's been shot. I turn on my favorite show and fall back asleep. Elvis Crespo's Suavemente plays aloud from the neighbor's apartment window. It's Sunday morning and my mother is cooking pancakes. Life goes on, yet I just heard someone get shot this morning. That was normal for waking up at 3 a.m. at 2414. And then the lavender porch. Growing up in the loud streets of the Bronx has its ups and downs. Loud noises, loud smells, congested sidewalks full of set-up shops. Residential homes look like commercial establishments and cost more than anyone could afford. lazy slump lords, irresponsible, having left renovations unfinished, living in tenement buildings you are renting. There's no ownership. Unable to grow my aloe plant and the rest of my plants on the fire escape like we used to. What happened? Never mind that. As I finished making up my cup of a freshly brewed herbal tea and grab my robe, I make my way over to the porch. It isn't lavender. Instead, it's baby blue with a crooked step. It isn't what I envisioned, but it's what I desired. All over, strategically ordered by the kind of herb is my small garden. I gaze up in the full moon as the subtle breeze brushes over my ears. I sip my herbal tea. I close my eyes, taking deep breaths. I am at peace while I meditate. And this is a very common yet popular poem that I share at many of the events that I attend in New York. It's called While I Meditate. Free thoughts, boundless dreams. Seems like the only mission for me, at least I thought. Loud lies, hidden truths, pain and violence be the proof is what I see. With these tears upon trauma bonds and toxic fogs, when will I ever see again? With my head in the clouds and my heart at peace, I will attract all that is destined for me. And as my final share, this is actually going to be sort of a writing prompt for you all. And this is the wrap up of my excerpt and my thematic reading. It is a affirmative activity. So it's called Your Turn. So in my book, I have it broken down into 3 aspects where I'm kind of talking about my trauma. Then I talk about my transition. Well, not a transition, but transformation. And then I talk about the triumphs. And yeah, then it's the triumphs. And in this aspect of the book, this is the transformative aspect of the book. And so I'm going to get right into it. It's called Your Turn. There's a quote that I share right before I start this piece, and it says, "True transformation is in the evolution of humanity, a happening that occurs in one, resulting in all. Now it is your time to create your own rhythm. It is time for you to take action towards channeling your emotions." While I was formulating this book, I didn't realize the type of transformation I was going through. And I certainly did not think I was writing a book. I meditated in chaos, cried in rage, screamed in silence, journaled, wrote affirmations, attended sister circles, read books about self-help, watched TED Talks, whatever piqued my soul's interest and kept my goal at the forefront, to be more intentional and better than what I was before. I became aware or awakened. I have learned through my own experience and have been able to learn from others' experience that finding your own rhythm and mastering it is one of the most profound ways to improve one's life, thus creating the happiness you truly desire. I hope that these tools can help someone exponentially as they have helped me. Create your own affirmations, as Bubblesz actually shared with us. You can cut this out. This is the aspect in my book. It's like a cutout affirmative activity. And it says, you could cut this out and use this to post on your wall, on your mirror, at your desk, at work. Affirmations have helped me to reprogram my mind and explore new aspects of self through awareness. It also helped me to be better, it also helped me to better control my thoughts so that I have limited negative thoughts. This is a great way to raise one's internal frequency as well. I also encourage you to reflect back on why you chose those specific affirmations. Ask yourself a few questions to dive deeper. What does it bring awareness to? And why do you believe it has value to you? So that's the ending of my excerpt in my thematic reading. I particularly wanted to choose those three pieces because I thought that they nicely reflected resilience that many of us in the inner city or all over actually experience. When our environment has a lot of chaos going on, you have to find and be proactive in finding ways to help you stay positive. And I wanted to share that because I had to do that within my healing process. And I would hope that it could share value to someone else. I would like to open this up to the forum if we can. Actually, Bubblesz is gonna go through right now and actually share a closeout exercise for us. So Bubblesz, if you would like, please take over.
Hi, I'm back. Okay, so it's so perfect, KP, because even what you just said with the affirmations, like we're gonna incorporate affirmations here. So we ping pong and we're doing great. Okay, so one of the exercises in the Bubbly Love course is a breathing exercise, right? So when we do intentional breathing, it really does help us to release all of the trauma, all of the tension that builds up and stores within our bodies. Because like when we're in life regularly, like just moving around, like we are breathing, but we're not necessarily breathing with intention, right? So again, there can be blockages, there can be different things that's within our bodies that end up manifesting as like illness and dis-ease, right? So it's very important for us to intentionally breathe. So what we're going to do together, okay, is that we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And then I just want to tell you exactly how to breathe properly as well. So when we take a deep inhale, we want our tummies to expand like a balloon. And when we take the exhale, we're going to do through the mouth, and we want our bellies to go in concave. Yes? Okay. So we could, wherever is a comfortable position for y'all, and we could take a deep breath in through the nose and hold. And release through the mouth. Again, take another deep breath in and hold. And release through the mouth. This one, take a deep, deep inhale in. And hold. And release through the mouth. Now I want you to give yourself a hug. I want you to say, I love me. I am strong. I am powerful. I am brave. And I can do anything. Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that. That was such a great way to recalibrate all of our energies and just recenter everything. Thank you so much for that, Asia. Bubble, sorry. It is so odd when you have pen names, right? Right. We're like, you can call me this, but AKA this and AKA that. And oh, don't forget that. Um, so I'm gonna go straight into the Q&A form, particularly Candy and Bubblesz. Whichever question, whoever feels just called to this, please feel free to, just you can hand up. You can either raise your hand or just unmute yourself and hop right in. So I like this one. what strategies in either writing or selling your book? So most of us, I think all of us, are self-published. So I think that was the reason why we got this question. What strategies in either writing or selling your books have you used as an author? I think by this they meant like if there's any alternative routes that we went for marketing. I think like event planning and things of that sort, like a community organizing aspect.
Um,
Um,
oh, where are you gonna go?
I'm gonna mute myself.
I was actually, what was interesting is I didn't even know what a chapbook was. Again, I started going to open mics and just meeting other writers and things of that sort. And I was calling it a poem book, but I guess a poem book is a lot thicker. Um, so I I did an event. I had a open mic that I was the host and I set up the planning of the event. And a girl came and she was like, so I created this chapbook, and I was just like, I don't know what that is yet. I heard about it, so I'm gonna talk to her afterwards. And we spoke, and then my open mic was, it got a good response in the community. So they're like, when are you gonna do another one? Da, da, da. And I was like, well, okay, I'll do another one. And but this time I was like, I kind of want to do something a little different. So I called it a chapbook launch. But it was also like an open mic. So we sold our books and like got the exposure and met more people, and it's fun. I just did another one, and now they're like, oh, where are you gonna do it again? I'm like, you guys. But I'm gonna do another one, and I'm thinking about creating it into a listening party because I've been working with uh, a studio with creating like kind of like some are songs, some are like just poetry, like me just speaking behind instrumental. So that'll probably be my next event to like kind of get that merch out, and hopefully I'll have my, I don't think I want to call it building words because broken words, building words, like getting more into like the level of maturing your brokenness. But I don't like building words, but hopefully I'll also be able to have another chat book with more of like affirmations and things expressing how to heal and breathe. Because I do have affirmation. So it was funny that she said that. I'm like, I definitely have affirmation, but to think about like, why is that my affirmation is something I definitely will do.
Okay, yes. I feel like it was a lot of that has a lot to do with at the moment when I'm writing, I'm also like I'm very much in active meditation mode. So naturally I'm like, okay, why am I being led to want to read? Like, why do I want to explore this particular thing? Right. Um, I remember I started, so it kind of relates back to a comment that Candy Bubblesz was saying in regards to just challenge, like being amongst other communities or other folks that can help challenge you. And I was amongst another writer, and I think the challenge was like something along the lines of, let me write about something that was like, or like fiction. I'm not really much on fiction. I really like to write thematic essays and like thesis, like research papers. And for some reason, I felt this calling to be challenged to write fiction. So I started writing on Wattpad again, and I started writing this fiction, this urban fiction. And I found myself, I'm like, why am I writing like this? And it's because I want to challenge myself, you know? So just sometimes being able to zone in a little bit and just be super analytical, I guess, about like even your cognitive process. And it's not always easy to do. It's not, and not in real time. But the more that you, I guess, explore it, you could probably do that, right? I think if I was to answer that question, something that I started to do was I created like a bookstagram. So like for me to help me connect, because my thing was I shared my poetry, and that was the first me writing this poetry collection, Feeling Feelings, Writing Words, had a lot to do with me wanting again to challenge myself. And I felt like that would be a great opportunity for me to introduce myself as a writer. And then I found myself kind of feeling like, where do I start with promo? I don't know how to promote this. And something said create an Instagram so that you could create a community of writers. Because I know what it was. I think I was force feeding my following to like to receive my bookish content, and like the majority of my followings aren't very like aren't like, avid readers. So naturally I found myself like, okay, I gotta create a safe space. And for me, it was an Instagram. That was when I created Writers Rock. I created Writers Rock Collective at the close of December, which is when I released my book. And it was just because I'm like, hey, I want to connect with other writers who also want to improve themselves, and want to build community out of this. And so that was one of the, I guess, creative avenues that I went about, as far as it went promoting and finding resources as well. And it just so happened, of course, I was already connected with Robin, and through a colleague of mine now, who was my professor at the time. But she informed me about Writers Spring Rights Literary Festival, and it was just an awesome opportunity. And then naturally we are now being able to connect with other writers amongst the borderlines, like, not borderlines, but like state lines and the city districts. I think that's like one of the coolest things. Would anybody like to speak to that anymore? Okay. So I guess a good question also, the next one is, how do you choose the topics that you write about? Maybe Bubbles, you want to speak to that? How do you choose the topics that you write about? Like, I guess, how did you choose to incorporate like fashion into the Bubbly Love course?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've realized is that like I have been performing now. This is my sixth year of being like a performing artist and like curating events and just in this space. However, my major in college was fashion marketing and merchandising. So like that's
Mm.
my background and like my schooling
Oh.
and the type of jobs that I had. But I realized that when I had my dream job, it just wasn't it for me. It was not my dream job. But now what I'm doing is what I truly love. And what I've realized is like, wait a minute, I can incorporate all of the things I love into my life. So it's like now I can incorporate like literally all of the things that I mentioned that's in this book are all things that I love to do. They are all things that have brought me healing, that have been therapeutic to myself. And then it's like my own way of me basically, like I used to want to be a stylist. So it's like I styled basically my life into using all of the things that I wanted to do. And then now I express and I share it and I teach it now. And what I've realized as well, like I'm very passionate about mental health. And I had to like within my own awareness and within my own healing journey, I really sat with myself and I'm like, well, what's the things that brought me healing? And I'm like, oh, meditation, journaling, music,
Yeah.
fashion, because
Yeah.
fashion, like for me, like even working in something like fashion, like working in the fashion world, it was very like pretentious. And it was like, oh, I have this because I have money. And that's not the reason why I've always loved fashion. I love fashion because of the free expression, because it's like a language, a communication. I can be wearing something or have my hair a certain way, and I could say no words to you, and you can learn something about me, like literally just through my outfit. Like, by the way, I made this, y'all. So, so like I love,
Beautiful.
right? So it's like I can literally communicate with you. Like I said, it's a communication. I've made so much friends just by like what I'm wearing. People coming up to me like, "Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
what's that?" And then we just start talking about it. So I've always loved the free expression of fashion, and again, just utilizing all of the things that I love and doing it in my way, which is very like mindful, like mindfulness. Everything that I do is like mindfulness. The reason why I do music is because there was a point in time where I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know how to express certain things that I would go through. So I put it into music. Same thing with writing and journaling. I didn't know how to say it out loud. So I put it into journaling. Even with dance, what I was talking about earlier about us getting like holding emotions within our bodies, like tension within our bodies. There's certain things that you can't put into words that you just gotta shake it out. You just got to dance it out. So just
Yes.
like, yeah. So just truly like tapping into my passions and the things that brought me healing and styling, like the things that I want to do. So that's how I came up with it.
I love that. Um, I think I'm not sure if it was what you said, but I don't know why it was being brought back to I mentioned it in the beginning of my reading, but I was a part of a lot of different like sister circles and just attended events that had a lot of women who were also very high on the same exact frequency where you're just very connected to yourself and your authenticity. And I think it was in 2021, it was spring of 2021, and we had a writing prompt to do. And I think that was the first time I wrote while I meditate. So again, I feel like it's being able to be amongst people or spaces that just take up space where it's literally for you to take up space. Like, hey, I've got this space so that you can take up space. You need space. Like it felt like that type kind of thing. And it just resonated with me again as you just spoke on your experience with that. And I just love it. I love it. Shout out to those that are organizing space for all creatives is so important. um, and I think this was a really, really, really great question. And it's a great way to maybe switch over. Um, oh, this was cute. This was kind of like a little this or that thing, but do you prefer, and they say that this says a lot about you, do you prefer um buy new or borrow used? This is for anyone to ask. This is for anyone to answer. But they say it says a lot about your personality.
It's funny because I like a lot of borrow use. Like in college, what? Like, you know how the books would be so expensive? I used to get a lot of borrow use textbooks for my courses. And even like I play video games and like again, like I would get like a lot of borrow use stuff. And I'm like, let me see. But I would say the reason why I also enjoy that is because it's kind of like what they say is like one person's like trash can be another person's treasure. So it's like maybe one person doesn't appreciate it, but another person would, or maybe they were done with whatever it is that they needed to receive from there and like it's your time. And then it also makes me think about like upcycling, like so like not wasting stuff. And I'm very big into that, like making like say for instance a skirt or something like a fashion piece. It's like, you know what? I may not like it the way it was before, but let me throw some paint on it. Let me do something else to it and like see what I could receive. So basically I would say finding value in everything. Like that's what I would sum it to.
So if I can piggyback off of that, just one thought, it's interesting because I feel like the upscaling aspect I want to speak to, and now more contemporary, I feel like literature and literature, like literary spaces, there's a thing where we get updated cover editions, like the updated cover art. And so like naturally, of course, I'm down to pay an extra $13 for that hardcover, that this new illustration, this new illustrator that's out, just to show my support sometimes. So I thought that'd be a nice thing to throw in, just to get our feedback and just to dive into us as personally a little bit. How about you, Candy?
I like new. I appreciate used, but I prefer new. Mainly because sometimes when you get used, like they'll have something like highlighted or crossed, and it kind of distracts you from what maybe you would highlight or things like that. So if it's gently used, I'll take it. Because I need to highlight. I gotta, you should see my Bible. I wouldn't know how to give that to anybody else.
Yes, but then again, I don't know. I think there's some things like I wouldn't mind getting someone's used version of like 1984 George Orwell. I would love to know, like, what was your take on that? Like, how did you perceive that? Was it different from mine? And maybe it could help further my analysis of it or my perception of it, right? That's super dope. That's super dope. Okay, so this is the last question, and it's kind of wraps us up. This is a great question. It says, what is a good way to support you at this moment?
Breathe in and breathe out. No. But seriously, just appreciating yourself, being gentle with yourself, definitely being mindful. I just really appreciate like all of us for what we're doing and our passion for it and our love for it. And it is about like our mental health and like loving each other and loving ourselves, and not worrying, having standards, all the things. So I feel like that's what I just love it. I just love exposing myself to new people and new writers, and I'm coming to the city to see you guys. Okay, I'm coming.
Oh, I want to make sure that we're understanding the question. It says, I guess, like, what is a good way that others could support you at this moment? So I guess it's to speak to, how sometimes you got different, because I think what it is there was a point in time in a conversation when I went live before, and there was somebody saying like, hey, if I did this, if I shared about your book, then that was my version of supporting you, right? And we'll say like, hey, sharing that I don't really perceive that as support. Like, support is maybe purchasing my book, or and purchasing it for someone else. Maybe you don't want to read it, but maybe it could be gifted to someone else as like a self-care gift, things like that. Or if you have any events going on, I'm assuming, like, in those ways, how can others support you at this moment? I'll answer that. Oh, okay. You could go ahead.
I'll just say really quick. Following me on Instagram, that's usually where I like promote my events, whatever is going on with me. And if you have any feedback, because again, I'm not a professional, I don't know too much. I just enjoy writing. So like any feedback on what could help my craft would be great. Just sharing, just share and get in contact with me, reach out, and having the community is important. But I'll stop now.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And Bubbles, is there any way that you might be able to advise or just, gently suggest to others in ways that they might be able to support you at this moment?
Yes, absolutely. So I shared the link to purchase a book, a Bubbly Love course at Amazon.com. And then I'll also share my Instagram where I'll keep you updated. Another thing is that I'm actually doing the Bubbly Love course in person. I know that everyone on the live is not necessarily in the city, but if you can share the course that I'm doing with any moms that you know, okay, because I'm specifically looking for families right now, like for moms and dads to do the healing with their children. So families really, if you can just share that information and even share this book, because when I wrote this book, the intention was to have it for my classrooms, which I use it in my classrooms, but also have it for families who maybe do homeschooling. And even if they don't do homeschooling, it's still activities that they can do at home with their children. So all about the families, all about the moms and the dads and the families, and also again just checking out what I have going on Instagram, because I'll be doing more like virtual events, so that people that are not in the state or in the same place, like we could still connect and we can do these exercises together and just build upon knowledge and grow together and empower one another.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And the same as for me goes as follow. I also put in the chat my all of my Instagram, the way that you can purchase my collection. A great way to really stay connected to me in this time, because my personal Instagram, I'm actually trying to give it somewhat of a break, because as a writer, I need to spark some new inspo. And I just naturally I'm trying to work my virtual community and strengthen this virtual community for Writers Rock Collective. And so most of the resources that I am coming across is I'm researching a lot of opportunities and resources for fellow local authors, writers, authors, creatives, as well as those elsewhere. It's not just solely for New Yorkers or solely for the city goers, but we are just based in the city. But like I said, I'm working on trying to create this virtual space for us that could possibly grow into being something that we physically are constantly and consistently doing, so yeah, Writers Rock Collective _ at Insta, like the Instagram @ Writers Rock Collective. Yeah, and that's really the best way to get connected with me. If you go on our bio, you'll be able to see the link to join our book club. That's where I really put it's just my newsletter really too. So I'm like constantly funneling any upcoming events that I'm going to, or if I'm supporting anyone that has any events coming up, I'm also sharing that. So it's just a huge network of us just trying to stay connected as local writers and creators. So yeah, I think that concludes our thematic reading. Not sure if anyone wants to say anything, any further lingering comments or not. This has been such a powerful and beautiful experience for me. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending this evening with us.
Thank
And
you
thank
so
you so
much.
much for my participating writers as well. I know that this could have been a little bit like nerve-wracking, and I hope that it was very smooth for you all. And my last comment that I really would like to say is, for those that are at home and watching, please, 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 whatever you do, please get connected with Communities Arts Space, Arts Partnership. They are such a great organization that just helps you stay connected with other writers. And the amount of people that I have connected with and stayed connected with and learned from has been like exponential. It's something that you can't really speak on. You just need to be connected and stay connected. So get connected.
Thank you. This was very inspiring for me. It's Robin. I mean, even though I'm around artists like every day, I'm not I'm randomly mindful of the voices in my head, and 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 sometimes I think, well, I'm not writing because I'm not good at writing or exercising or whatever. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Creativity doesn't need to be about being good at something. It's about healing. That's what you reminded me. It's about healing and resetting anxiety and being human. It's not about, am I good at this? And I think that's something, and I know this, you know how you know something and then you don't know it a second later. I know that, I mean, my goal is that everybody has a creative outlet and they don't worry about monetizing it or rising to the top of their field unless they want to. But that everybody should be doing something, singing in the shower, dancing like nobody's watching, and writing and journaling and all the things that you mentioned. Yeah, so this was very inspiring and reminded me of that.
Thank you again for having us.
Does anyone else have any questions for them? You could turn yourself off mute if you do. And if not, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to look at all your websites and read your work now.
Alrighty. Yes, same. Alrighty. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And I'm looking forward to continue to see the rest of the event and to see the rest of the events a part of the festival.